This is Katie. I don't know if people can hear me or not, but it's saying that it hasn't started yet
Okay.
on Facebook. Here we go.
Okay.
You're on.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done.
Hello. Okay. Hello, all. Rachel Davis, horticulturist here at the Arboretum. We are going to be exploring iNaturalist. I'll give a little tutorial about how to use it and some pro tips that we found that worked really well. Uh, we are calling this initiative Naturing at Home because we want to make sure that we are practicing safe social distancing, but also able to engage with nature around us. So this is just an opportunity to learn together and have a great time naturing at home. So I am going to go through just a basic slideshow on some ways that we can use this and why we're doing it, and then we'll actually go to the website to look and navigate through there for you. There is the website that you can use and also an app that you can download. And then Abby, our special projects manager, I think that's her title. There she is. She'll be puttering around in her garden. Since this is part of the Garden Gnome series, we're she's going to be going through her garden and hopefully helping demo how we can do some of this. So I am going to go to, and we're trying this out. This is a brand new way to kind of interact with you, so bear with us. I am going to, where is my, uh-oh. Technical difficulties. Okay. How is that looking? All right. So naturing at home is just a fun way for us to interact. Why are we going to do this and why are we using iNaturalist? Well, we can do it from anywhere. All you're going to need is a point and shoot camera or just use your phone. Thankfully, our phones have pretty good cameras nowadays, so they're a really good tool for this. We can create a huge observation set about our local habitats. We also can collaborate during this time of shelter in place and help each other with identification. So we'll talk about a little bit more how that works once we get on the website. We'll get to know the who's and what's that are in our gardens, parks, and neighborhoods. We can also see how biodiversity varies across wildland to urban scale. So right now, our students, our volunteers, all of you can be scattered throughout different places. And it can be from wild to rural to suburban to residential and urban. So here's a little graphic that we found. Looks like this didn't get updated. Okay. This is courtesy of the City Nature Challenge and the Community Planning Assistance for Wildfire. So this is a little graphic just showing kind of the differences of density, help you kind of decide what your current neighborhood or living situation is. So wildlands, rural, which for anyone local, that'll be more like our ag lands too, if you're on property on the outskirts of town. Suburban, which I am in, general residential, and then urban town center. So getting started, a good way to do this is just go ahead and download the app on your phone or head over to the iNatural website and start making your login and account. And it's really fun to customize, and you'll see when we get there too. So yeah, you can create that account using your UC Davis email for students. For anyone else, you can use your personal email. That's fine as well. We can do, there's projects that are included throughout iNaturalist that you can contribute to. So you can collect those observations and help build the biodiversity data. And the project that we're working on right now is called Naturing at Home. So when we get to the website, you can search for Naturing at Home and find this project. And it is an open umbrella collection. It's a collection project. So anytime you add anything that fits the parameters, which is pretty much from anywhere that you are, you will be able to join. So here's some quick screenshots. We'll actually go there live in a little bit. So here you can log in or sign up at the top right corner. Then you can join the community as we go to the top here. You can follow different people. If there's like a lepidopterist or butterfly specialist you really want to follow, see what they're collecting, you can follow certain people. You can follow projects. This is the screenshot right here of our Naturing at Home project. So our banner is of a cute little bee inside our native poppy with several observations down here at the bottom already contributed by our all-star student intern. And then on the app, you can log in on this opening screen. If you're new, you sign up now at the bottom. Then this is just the different format that you'll find for adding your observations, adding them to projects. Here's our Naturing at Home project. And it's simple, it's super easy. If you press here on the Naturing at Home, you join. Sometimes it's hidden. This also is on an Android screenshot. So Apple phones are pretty similar. Hopefully you'll be able to figure that out easily. So when you upload an observation, we just encourage you, and hopefully Abby can be doing this in a little bit, just wander around your backyard or on your neighborhood walks and just see what you can find out there. I think we're going to be really amazed about what we see in our neighborhoods and backyards. It's really important to just kind of sit in one place and have a nice contemplative moment and see what visits a specific area. And just to the right here, all these photos are from milkweed. So it is the monarch butterfly host plant. We have these little, I think they're called assassin beetles that hang out and are predators, and also like a crab spider that doesn't have a web, but it pretty much hunkers down and waits to get some prey. So just on one species of plant even, you can find a nice biodiversity. So after taking the photos, just add your photo, upload it to the app, and or on the website, put the, often the time and date will automatically upload to your observation. Then you add your location, mark if it is captive or cultivated. So most plants in our neighborhoods and in our backyards will be cultivated, but if you do end up seeing a spider or a butterfly, those are wild. So really you only have to put captive or cultivated if it's like a horticultural plant. And then if you do end up joining the Naturing at Home project, be sure to add your terrain type to your observations. So we really want to know through this specific project what we see in all the different landscape types, wildlands versus suburban or super urban. So on the website, you'll add an observational field and type wild to urban in the section to search for that field, and then choose your terrain type. I would be suburban. On the app, you put the terrain type in the description, so wild, rural, suburban, residential, or urban. And you can then go to the desktop to add the field properly by editing your observation. And then you just submit it. So this is just a few screenshots of what that looks like. So these are just general lupins. If you're not sure what the species is, that's okay. That's why we have a whole community helping us ID all these different plants and animals. So err on just being the most general. Even if you're like, I don't even know what type of flower this is, just put plant, and that's totally fine. Staff like myself and a few others and some of our students will be helping you ID these, as well as when we grow our community for this project. So just a quick couple screenshots. And then on iNaturalist.org, that's where you can enter where the wild to urban scale. Okay, and on the app, just a few more quick screenshots. You can click on the add observation right here to add a new observation, and here is where you can add several shots, because we do encourage everyone to get multiple angles of your observation. This what did you see icon actually will help you ID your observation, and then entering all this information in right here. What to observe. So it's kind of easy, especially if we were on a hike, just to take pictures of plants as we go. But we're also just trying to get everyone to look even deeper. What else can we observe? Can we look at different interactions that are happening in our local environment? So get everything. And when you're looking at these species interactions, some of you are familiar with this photo to the right. These very beautiful, I think, cutouts of leaves. These are actually the leaf cutter bees gathering nesting material. So this is an indicator that they're probably around and you might be able to find them. We have some of these crab spiders at the bottom left. We encourage you to take photos of some of these less charismatic or, not easy to find organisms, even though they're harder to see in the environment. That's again why we're encouraging you to just like sit and wait and really try and hone in those skills. So some pro tips. So one thing that we really want to make sure everyone is careful about is, especially if you're going on a neighborhood walk and you see a bee in your neighbor's yard, you want to make sure that you are respecting their privacy. If anything, you are pointing your phone downwards or not getting their address numbers in your shot or having your shot go through their windows. Just be very respectful. Use your judgment on when you're on your neighborhood walks, but please be very respectful of people. Choose one location to observe, at least at first. Sit next to the flowering shrub, a rock garden, a patch of dirt, and look for movement. Odds are you'll find something you never would have thought if you were moving around too much. We're trying to identify something. When trying to identify something, don't forget that iNaturalist can help you do that. So those buttons that I mentioned on those screenshots are very helpful. And then again, I mentioned try taking pictures from multiple angles to let other naturalists figure out exactly what you saw. So these photos on the right of a cuckoo bee, I just kind of sat there, watched it for a while, tried to get the different angles, and it turns out that the key identifier for this cuckoo bee is this smiley face on the thorax. So we have the head, thorax, and abdomen. And this smiley face right here is exactly what I needed to get other entomologists to help me figure out what species this is. So that's going to be a really good tip for when you're out there doing iNaturalist. Also, it'd be good to break up your observations over a full day. So some things are more active first thing in the morning, like birds are really active, getting ready to sing their songs and interact and search for worms, whereas some of the pollinators won't come out till it's warmer, and that's when they're more active. So try and do some tests about when you want to be able to capture certain types of organisms. A few more notes on the animals. So we focus a lot on pollinators for my project. So bees and flies often mimic each other. And so this is just a quick little note that bees have longer antennae and oval shaped eyes right here. Whereas flies have very short, you can barely see them in this photo, short antennae and eyes that take up most of their face. So pretty much this entire head are compound eyes. When you are looking for pollinators, notice the different flight patterns. So common honeybees are kind of slow, they take their time, but they're really efficient, whereas flies are erratic all over the place, and they also hover a lot. So this fly is a flower fly or a hover fly. California native bees often look like little gray blurs and also have fast, erratic flight. And then I haven't been able to capture a ton of birds because right now I only have my phone. And so it's harder to get bird shots without a really good zoom lens. So if you want to focus on birds, I'd recommend using a digital camera. So we really want you all to enjoy the spring, get to know nature. This section that I just went over, we're going to record this so that you can reference it back again. But I'm just going to keep going. And we are going to share a different slide real quick. Bear with me. I think it's this one. I think this is what you can see. No? Hold on. There. Great. Katie's in the background, my producer. Woo-hoo. All right. So let's look at iNaturalist just for a couple minutes. So this is my profile that I've made. Again, it's pretty easy to make your own profile. I picked this little lupin and poppy photo if you don't want to have your face shown on this, which I'd rather not have it on there. My profile has just a quick review of why I decided to join iNaturalist. Really excited to be outside. I follow about 12 people, all with different experience levels. So this is actually our student, Lauren. She has a ton of observations. I think she's over 10,000 observations. Also, just some other specific people who are more in the horticulture realm, some who are more into butterflies. So I'm really able to follow up on what they're seeing, and their ID helps me out a ton too. So right now I have about 119 observations, and this is my newest one that is contributed to this Naturing at Home project. So let me just make sure y'all can see this. Okay, so I've already had some people follow up and confirm that this is what I saw. So this is casual. There are some that are research grade, which really does help to contribute to scientific research. I'll show you one of those in a bit. Right now, I hope you all can see this. I don't know if you can. This map, it has where my observation is from, but if you don't want people to know exactly, like if it's in your backyard, I will update on this. One of my students has already figured it out, but you can kind of blur where you are versus it being the exact spot if you care about people seeing all the different things that are in your yard and know that that's you. So that's something that you can definitely do on the website. So people are helping me confirm that this is indeed sky lupin that is cultivated. And here's my description right here. I'm in the suburban landscape. And you can also comment and ask questions on the website as well. And if you are unsure about your observation and you want to see who's the best people at identifying this specific type of plant or animal, you can go there and check in with them and message with them and ask them questions. So that's a really great resource. And so some of the other observations that are research grade, let's see, let's go to an insect. Doo-doo-doo. Here, let's go to that cuckoo bee. So I put multiple angles up on iNaturalist, and you could put more. The more, the better. But I did include this one with the happy face. And I only got the genus correct, so I knew it was a cuckoo bee. But I have this person is amazing, John Asher, at helping identify bees specifically. So he got me to species level. And so you can see my identification is improving because I have a specialist who says, this is the species. And then I agreed with him. So right here, this right here is kind of the scale at which you need to make it research grade. And so because John Asher is a specialist, his observation or his agreeing with me made it research grade. So it's going to be kind of fun to see what different types of observations you all get. Research grade will be best for science if that's your main goal in this, but it is just a really good way to have community. Oh, and one other thing to point up right here, these are the conversations. So these are just some funny ones. These are when people help you ID some things. So this was, unfortunately, I think at Jepson Prairie, where we don't want dogs, obviously, no dogs, please. And somehow there was a dog in there, and she got multiple photos of, well, he has an interesting collar right there. I don't know, maybe he's trained. But if you go to a community and projects, these are all the different projects that I contribute to. So California Garden Allies might be a really good one for those of us like in our gardens, want to know what's around locally or within California. This one actually has observations throughout California. But you can see all the different cool organisms that are our allies in our gardens. But really quickly, I see I am talking a lot. I'll go quickly to naturing at home. So this is the one that we encourage you all to join during this time. So this project is going from April 10th to June 13th, so essentially spring quarter. And so this is where we want to see all your different observations. So you can see this wild turkey is definitely in the urban or maybe suburban, but let's say urban environment. That got research graded. So we're looking for all different types of observations. Let's see. So just to take a quick look. Plants, animals. We've already got some research grade observations, which is great. So in general, I just want to encourage everyone to get out there, try it. You can even just do a couple observations before you add any projects to your profile. And I am quickly reading some notes as reminders. So right now, we're kind of just getting everyone into it. This is for students and volunteers. We want to encourage you all, connect everyone. Let's really do this together. But a big project we want to join with the rest of the nation is actually the City Nature Challenge. So that's happening April 24th to 27th. And it's kind of a competition between different cities to see who can get the most observations and who has the most biodiversity. So that's going to be a great one to check out. We will put these resources up on our Facebook page. And go ahead and keep checking on Facebook. We'll have that recorded slideshow available. We'll have resources for different projects you can order, and also the City Nature Challenge information. So it looks like we've got Abby in her garden. Abby, do you see any cool bugs or birds active in your garden right now? Are you practicing sit and wait?
Yeah, I'm practicing. I found a cool patch of Phacelia that had a lot of native bees on it, and as soon as I sat down, they were all like, peace, and they left. And the honeybees came back quickly, so I think they seemed a little braver. But after I sat there for a while, they all came back. I just needed to sit still, and also once my dog left, my dog was sitting next to me for a little while. That kind of seemed to scare them off, so I got her inside. And then I left that patch because I think my internet's not as good back there, so I don't know if you guys could actually see it. And now I'm sitting with some heuchera.
Yeah.
And can you see that okay?
Yeah. I think so.
We have more. This is the front of my house, so we have more internet. And I don't know if you can see it, but there is like I can see a honeybee. I saw a little small bee. I don't really know that much about bees. I can tell what a honeybee is, but that's about it. So this would be a good practice for me to be able to identify any other ones. But I saw
Right.
like the littler ones that are native. Yeah, so I'm sitting and waiting. Lots of flies also. I have chickens, so maybe that's why, but it's amazing when you sit and look and notice which things are flies versus bees.
Mm-hmm.
They really like the alyssum too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I have a question. So like if I wanted to record anything right here, would I record just the insects is mostly what you're interested in, and the plants you would want to know what it's on so that it has interaction, or you just record everything you take a picture of?
So because it's a big kind of banner project, we want to know everything that's in your local environment. Sometimes it's going to be harder, like I said, like if you only have a phone versus a digital camera for some of the birds. But we have the most experience with the insects and what flowers they are visiting. But those are some things that you can put in those notes. So we may add another field for if it is a bug, what is it visiting? And we can also, the administrators of the project, if it's naturing from home, can help with the idea of even the plant as well. So we will be interacting on that side, helping with any sort of ID. But yeah, bugs are great. Bugs might be a good place to start, especially if you're at your home garden. And flies are still important to document, especially if they're little hover flies too. But yeah.
Are those the ones that mimic bees?
They are, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have, a lot of times they have the similar stripes on the abdomen, but there are a few key characteristics that differentiate them.
So my question about your presentation was awesome. Great job.
Thank you.
My question about it is maybe I missed this when I was trying to get the dog away from the bees.
Yeah.
But like, what is the overall goal of this project? Like,
Yes.
you guys is it just, I mean, sometimes science doesn't have to have a goal. It's just observation led, and then you see what you get, and then you get to ask questions about that. But do you have like a specific question you're trying to answer?
Yeah, so for the specific Naturing at Home project,
Right.
we're seeing what is in this wildland to urban scale during springtime, like all biodiversity. So because we're kind of in lockdown, we want to know, like, and especially for us at the Arboretum, spring is so crazy, so it's hard to even sit down and observe what's around. Even for some of the projects that we've done separately, there's not a lot of observation points because we don't have enough time. So it's actually a good time for us to enjoy our gardens, enjoy our local environments. I mean, this could be neighborhood walks. If there are any local trails near you, to be more considered on the wildland side. But yeah, it's biodiversity in the wildland to urban scale.
Cool. That's really interesting. And like lots of people do research on like if we can support the kind of biodiversity in like insect communities in the wildland compared to in our backyards. And if so, then like how do we best do that? Which plants support that diversity the best? So that's a really cool project.
Yeah.
And this sitting, it is funny what you say about being still. Like I'm so used to moving so much. I'm so used to moving so much in my garden and just like task to task and trying to be efficient and like getting stuff done. It is really nice to just sit here and actually look and observe and be like peaceful and calm in the garden.
Yeah, and then the bugs will come to you. Exactly. And especially if you're not, and you can even see in Abby's yard, it's right by the street and there's cars coming by, but that's not affecting this little bee that we're seeing. They can handle a little bit more action that's going on around them, the honeybees, versus some of the natives are a little more scared easily. So another pro tip is to, as you're sitting there, try not to get your shadow to cross the flowers if you're looking at pollinators, because that'll startle them a little bit too. So kind of you're sneaking up on things a little bit. And that's why, yeah, you made a good point about like if you are on a neighborhood walk and you have your dog with you, that might scare away a few things. So that's definitely a good note to consider as well.
And do you have a recommendation for like a macro lens or anything like that? Or do you think that
Oh,
that's tricky because you have to like zoom in? Because I once like bought a cheap macro lens for my iPhone to be able to take pictures of plants mostly because I think they look
yeah,
so cool up close.
yeah.
Promptly lost it. So I'm in the market for another one and probably other people are too. So if there's like
Are
a
we
good,
allowed to product place?
I guess
Because
maybe not.
I don't know. I will
I guess,
just
do you
say,
recommend them in general? Do you think that the ones that are available are good?
so I have a Pixel phone right here, and it actually has an amazing camera, but I didn't have the budget, at least through the Arboretum, to get like a macro lens with a Nikon that I'm actually used to using, especially
Mm-hmm.
for insects. But I got one of those clip-on, I
Right.
won't say the brand, that has both a wide angle and a macro. And if you can capture them at the right time of day, they are a little more slow to move about. So if it's cooler and like bees are out, they won't like
Mm.
run away if you try and come up to them really close. But it has worked. It's better for macros of flowers. But
Yeah.
one other note that the native bees, a lot of like the sweat bees are ground nesting, and the females sleep in the ground, but the males sleep on flowers. And so if you can catch a sleeping male sweat bee, they usually won't come out until a little bit later in the year. But that's how I've gotten a lot of really good photos, is because there's
They're asleep.
sleeping sweat bees on flowers, which are really cute.
I love that because it's like they're sleeping in the refrigerator. Like they're like chomp chomp. I guess I'll just go to sleep.
Exactly. So we'll try and maybe do some updates throughout the quarter. I haven't cleared this with Katie yet, but just to see how all the observations are going, maybe feature a couple observations from our. uh, Sorry, I'm reading her notes as we're going. Just like maybe feature some observations to see how the progress is going. So
Yeah, if people have questions, how should they ask them?
I think we are still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
We will have probably a specific email address, but immediately in the near future, you can comment in the comment sections of Facebook. I think there was a post about this tutorial today, so go ahead and put questions in there, and we'll get back to you on those. But we might have some other ways that we can um, have a conversation with you.
I have a question, maybe if we still have time, about cultivated plants versus wild plants. What if you
Yeah.
can't tell? Like, what if you're like, this seems like a weedy patch? It's not necessarily someone's front yard, but is it like if it's just in a neighborhood, should we default to thinking that it's cultivated, for example?
That's a really great question. So there are actually a lot of photos of weeds on iNaturalist. I actually helped identify some of them. So those are actually wild because no one actually wants to cultivate some of those weeds. So they have kind of gotten into the urban environment on their own. So, and I think it still can be useful to have an observation of a weed in a suburban or urban environment. So thinking about it right now, I would not say that it's cultivated, but maybe I'll look at some of the boards on iNaturalist and see what they're trying to go for. So yeah, especially if we have plants that we're looking at, it will be better data if we make sure that it says cultivated. And better data if we try and get more of the, what we're saying, critters. So that's all the animals and insect, or all the different types of animals are easier to do because all of those will be wild, unless it's like that dog that was at Jefferson Prairie. So still an interesting observation. So yeah, let's go for weeds that don't look like we put them there on purpose are not
Yeah,
cultivated.
not like on a hike in a
Yeah.
park or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, yeah, a lot of things interact with weedy species, actually. You can find a lot of biodiversity on weedy species. I actually have some arugula that I'm letting flower right now, and
I have like a field of arugula in my backyard.
And they're kind of weedy.
Yeah.
But the pollinators are loving them. So I stopped eating the leaves because they're a little bitter. But I'm letting them have the flowers for now. So it's still useful. I think that's important to see. That's actually what we provide in more of the suburban urban interface. So
cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks,
So we're gonna wrap it up. Hopefully this was a useful way to communicate with you all, get some training in. Again, we'll have more resources available for you, but we are gonna say goodbye for now. And enjoy naturing at home, everyone. We miss you all. I'll just keep waving.